Excellent. And Paul's speech
Before we
tonight,
start,
yeah,
oh, sorry. I just wanted to know the time frame of his speech.
approximately 7 minutes.
Okay.
And the title of Paul's speech tonight is called Pay It Forward as a Replacement to Thank You. His speech will be approximately around 7 minutes consistent with international speech requirements. Paul Park, Pay It Forward as a Replacement to Thank You. Pay It Forward as a Replacement to Thank You, Paul Park. Without further ado.
Thank you, Toastmaster Chair, Board, everyone here. I am a human being, just like you. I have biological functions. I have hopes. I have dreams of times I'd like to see and remember someday. There's not much that makes me different, but I guess it starts with my name. I am Paul Han Park. My father was Kyung Yeol Park, one of 7 Korean original clans pre-DMZ. My mother was Chun Cha Byun. She apparently was the daughter of one of the first makeup empires in South Korea in the 60s, moving on forward. I have had no contact with them, and I don't think they know that me and my brothers exist. I am the son of a refugee. I am a teacher who believes in social mobility. Social mobility is when I'm sitting on the street and eating noodles, chatting with a motorcycle taxi guy about his day and broken tie of what I've assembled over the years. And then after that, it's getting on that same scooter to a 5-star hotel full of C-level management and trying to see what I can do to build up what we're trying to do with Bubble Language School, which is teach people social mobility. There is a meaningless gesture these days in the way that people say thank you. Something happens and you say thanks. And then they go about their lives. In our work these days, there are a bunch of kids who their friends are getting killed and jailed in Burma as we speak. And they're so afraid that they leave. Their family gives up their life savings to legally get a visa for them to stay. They have no jobs. Their CVs are like 50 words and no skills really, but everything they've built up until now with beautiful gleaming intelligence. I try to pay them minimum wage and teach them the skills that it would take to earn more than that. Scale it out, put it on Google Sheets, and teach them a way. As they do this, they help the school. I try to teach them to teach themselves and then teach others. Because my life is bonus. When my father was on the plains of North Korea, there were bombs overhead, and he got hit with a piece of shrapnel. He was bleeding out, and he was saved by a US soldier. And then he took him to Seoul. So I always maintain in my life, had that happened, had that not happened, I would not be here. And every life I've touched or tried to teach this concept would never have existed. So it's bonus. There are so many systems in this world where if you build it correctly, it's an engine to pay it forward. These days, people say thank you to me. I still get that weird, awkward feeling, but I try to brush it off and focus on what I'm doing, building a system that pays it forward. It's totally possible. That cliche of you can do anything that you put your mind to. It just needs a little edit and update. Anything is in brackets. Anything is just whatever you can build with the resources you have available to you at your fingertips. With morality and trying to change a meaningless gesture into something you try to just brush off and move forward with. Because that's the best way to react to it, don't you think? Where there are people who need it for a wide range of reasons. So I always love this core story that I'm going to end this time with, and it's from Chicken Soup for the Soul. It's the starfish story, and I always love telling this story. Once upon a time in Mexico, there was a man on the beach. He saw a native bending down to pick up a starfish and throw it out into the ocean. Curious, the foreigner went to the native and asked him, "What are you doing? What are you doing? That's so weird." And the native smiled and he replied, "Well, you see, sir, all of these starfish wash up onto the shore. And when low tide comes, they die. So I'm saving them." And the foreigner looks up and down the beach and he imagines hundreds of thousands of starfish. And he says, "You can't possibly save all of them. What is wrong with you?" And the native, he smiled again. And he looked at him meaningfully, purposefully, bent down and picked up another starfish and whisked it into the ocean so that it skipped 3 times. And he smiled at the foreigner and he said, "It made a difference to that one." So pay it forward instead of saying thank you. It's a good way to live.
Excellent, Paul. As always, fantastic speech. I'll give a formal evaluation. If everyone could take a minute or so to message Paul their thoughts of his speech directly, you could provide him feedback, and that'll help him in his future competitions.